Hey maker, if you have a hard time choosing props and backdrops when it comes to styling your products for photos, this video is for you. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Christina Nicole, and I am a product photography coach teaching makers like you how to take your own high quality product photos that actually attract more customers and make more sales for your product-based business. I'm going to take you behind the scenes while I set up, style, and edit natural soap. I am using the Replica Studio and Replica surfaces, which I will link in the description below. I have the studio right up against my window, level with my window. This bottom surface is called Onyx Tile. I'm also going to pair it with Honey Tile. The goal here, the theme, is to emulate kind of a bathroom setup. The natural soap is golden black, so going with coordinating colors. I'm going to be adding a gold tray. This tray is going to create contrast and separation between the black backdrop and the black soap. I am using 3 bars of soap stacked to create visual interest and add some height and depth to the photo. I'll be including a black washcloth. Not only does the washcloth coordinate with the overall theme, again, it adds some texture. It adds some additional visual interest into the photo. I'll also be including a hand pump and a little container with a lid that you would put cotton balls or Q-tips in. All of this is coordinating with the overall bathroom theme. And lastly, I'm going to include just some black floral. This again has a lot of texture. It's going to create a lot of visual interest in our overall setup. Next, we're going to look at modifying the natural light so that we can create soft, even light with minimal shadows. First, we're going to add a layer of diffusion into the window. I am using a 5-in-1 diffuser. You'll notice that we lost a little intensity of light, but it also softened the shadows. The second step we're going to take is to add reflection to the right-hand side of the setup, opposite the light source, to even out the overall light in our setup. Let's go ahead and snap a quick photo, and I'm going to take you into editing. I will be editing this photo inside of Affinity Photo 2. Affinity Photo is a one-time payment that rivals Adobe Photoshop. It's an excellent choice for beginners. It's inexpensive, and the basic edits that you need to do are pretty easy to learn. The first thing you need to do when editing a product photo is to adjust your light and dark tones. So essentially your exposure. To do that, my favorite tool is the curves tool. Our dark tones are going to be here on the left as we move to our lightest tones all the way here to the right. So we do have some white and gold in this background, and you will notice that we have a huge component here where we do not have white tones in our photo. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually move this dot over to where we get kind of right in here to capture a much pure white background. You'll notice if I move over too far, start getting into where we do have tones, you're going to notice that the background's going to blow out a little bit, which means we're going to lose detail, mainly with the gold. So we just want to get it where we kind of are getting these gold pieces back. And you'll notice when we do that, it's pretty lined up here. The next thing we're going to do is look at our darks, because a lot of times when we go to increase exposure, those darks are going to get kind of washed out, have kind of a haze over them. So to adjust the darks, we're going to go down here and select a dot on the line. Just kind of bring those down to where they look a little more true to real life. And then I also want to increase kind of the overall midtones exposure of the image. So we're going to put a little dot here, and we're just kind of going to increase there as well. So as I mentioned, these are our dark tones, mid-tones, and then our lightest tones. So our whites and our blacks, and then everything in between. About there. Now that I've increased that, it's made our darks a little darker. So I'm going to mess with those a little bit more. Just under our original line. We're on the line. That looks pretty good there. Some little adjustments here. Okay. And what you'll notice here is this kind of makes like an S curve, and that's pretty typical. We increase those lights. We typically have to bring those darks back down. Next, I'm going to take a peek at, we want to look at the overall colors. It's kind of step 2 in editing. I feel like our white balance is pretty good, but we're going to look at maybe making a slight adjustment here. We have a lot of black in this photo. Sometimes that can cool the image down. So going right will be extreme, left will be super cool. Get back to that center ground. And like I said, it may just be like one tick. A 1 or a 2 is going to be nice. I think I like a 2. Tint is going to be for your greens, purple, or greens, magentas, pinks. I'm not really seeing that in this image, so we're going to leave that alone. However, a lot of times when we increase those lights, bring the darks down, we kind of create this high contrast or saturation in our colors sometimes. And I do notice that the golds look a little saturated. So the next adjustment we're going to go and do is going to be vibrance. And we're going to mess with the saturation. Again, kind of taking it too far. Way too far. Backing. Got like about a 10. I'm going to zoom in here and I'm just going to double check and see if we do have a little bit of dust particles. I'm going to go ahead and use this clone tool. Now you do have to have the background selected to use the clone brush tool. In Photoshop, it's called the clone stamp tool. Does exactly the same thing. That's the biggest thing to keep in mind is a lot of these softwares are going to function pretty similarly. You can do pretty much the same edits in each of them. Their location, the name of the tool just maybe slightly different, but they're basically going to do the same thing. So let's see here. I want to make my brush much smaller. And we're going to tap I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to tap the option button and kind of grab right next to it and just go in and gently kind of get rid of that dust. Same thing here. Kind of get rid of some of these particles. And really, I should have brushed these off before I ever shot. But sometimes we don't notice. Now that one didn't turn out very well. Whenever you're using this, you want to pull from similar tones. So I'm going to undo that one. I'm actually going to pull from underneath it and see if that helps. Yep, there we go. We don't see the roundness of it anymore. And just the slightest shift in tone can make a huge difference when it comes to our selection that we're copying. So just keep that in mind. Oh, made my line not straight. Okay. Let's just kind of look around the photo. Right now, what we're doing is just kind of cleaning up the photo. Something weird, like on here. Pull right from here. A little better, and then kind of the same thing here. There we go. Okay. Go ahead and zoom back out. And now we are going to crop. Now, once we're in crop, we want to look and make sure all of our lines are super straight. I'm pretty good about doing that within camera, but that is the next step that you're going to want to take. Make sure your lines, any lines you have in the photo are straight. And to do that, you hit the straightening tool here and grab the line that you want to make straight. Okay, so it did shift it just a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and make our crop. So you go up here, pick your selection. I have 4:3 selected. Now my goal is to I want my props just kind of peeking into the image frame. But I do want to keep a little bit of negative space around this cap and a little on top. but I'd like to kind of get this side to where this jar is just peeking into image frame, kind of like this. You'll notice when I do that, the product is not centered. A lot of times, especially when we're doing product photos for listings, we want the product to be centered, take up, a good bit of space. This could be a listing photo, a styled photo. It could also be a marketing photo for social. So one thing I'm just going to kind of utilize, because we have a lot of great props that are really putting this product in context, I'm actually going to utilize the rule of thirds and essentially place the product kind of in this grid here. So you'll notice that we've broken up into 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Rule of thirds just states that at an intersection, so it could be here, 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 or here. That's where you'd place the product. Now, you'll notice that we're kind of under here. We don't want any of that. And we've already gone under this cap, so we are going to bring this up, create a little bit of negative space around there, around our edge. And our product is still in that the intersection there. I'm also looking at the lines here. I don't want it to be like this where we just have color kind of peeking in. I want there to be a little bit of space between our lines and elements there. I think this looks good. Now, if I was going to put this photo on Etsy, I'd want to go up here to File. And we're going to do the export option. It's going to export as a JPEG. You will notice that our pixel dimensions are 4216 by 3162. That's a little large. So we do want to go ahead and reduce that. I recommend doing 2667. And since we already set the aspect ratio to 4:3, if I hit enter, it's automatically going to update the other side to 2000. You look here, it's also set at best quality. More than likely to reduce that file size, we're going to have to jump down to a JPEG high quality, which you'll see down here that reduced the file size, to 467.75 kilobytes. Let's go back to that best quality and see where we're at. Yeah, that's 3 megabytes. That's a huge, huge file. Etsy recommends under 1 megabyte. So this is perfect to have it at 476.75 kilobytes. And then you're going to hit export and just save where you want to save. And this is our final photo. Please take the time to like this video if you found it useful, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to learn more about taking your own high quality product photos. See you next time.